Hey, want to know something really cool? There's an app that lets you interact with data. Like here, let's see what it looks like. Whoa, that's me. How does it know my weight? It doesn't. This is just an example of one thing you can do with data, but it's not the best example because this isn't actually data. This is just a picture I stole off Google Images. Anyway, real data is really interesting. Here's some real data about penguins. These are penguins. Okay, well, these are pictures of penguins, but this is real data. You can see that Adelie penguins weigh a lot less than emperor penguins. But what if you wanted to compare the weights of like 10,000 different penguins? It would take forever to add up all their weights the long way. But what if instead of adding up all their weights, you made this chart? Now you can just look at the average, and boom, you know the average weight of a penguin. And now you might be thinking, well, great. How is this relevant to anything? Well, check it out. Here's a picture of a beach. We're gonna zoom out now. And then we're gonna make some penguins. Those penguins represent grains of sand. There are about 7.5 quintillion grains of sand on the Earth, or 7.5 per 10 to the power of 18. We can write that like this because it's easier to count really big numbers this way. Anyway, now let's take all those grains of sand and put them on this planet. That's awesome. But remember our goal. We want to know how many stars are in the universe. So now let's take all those grains of sand and put them in this galaxy. This is the Milky Way. It contains over 100 billion stars. Let's put our grains of sand into this galaxy. We'll just use this planet for now. It doesn't really matter which planet, because all the planets in the Milky Way have roughly the same number of grains of sand. And now let's take that galaxy and put it in the universe. See, our little planet is just a tiny speck of dust in a galaxy that is just a tiny speck of dust in the universe. That is wild, and we have no idea how big the universe really is. For all we know, the universe could be infinite, but even if it's not infinite, it's still super huge. Anyway, let's say the universe is this big. We'll make it a sphere for fun, and we'll put our little planet in the center of the universe, because why not? Then we'll take all the other galaxies in the observable universe and put them in the rest of the sphere. And then we'll take our little galaxy and move it to the center of the observable universe. Then we'll take all the other galaxies in the Milky Way and put them in the rest of our galaxy. And then we'll take our little sun and move it to the center of the Milky Way. Then we'll take all the other stars in the solar system and put them in the rest of our solar system. And then we'll take our little Earth and move it to the center of the solar system. And now our little planet is in the middle of everything. That's crazy. But we're not done yet. We still have to put in all the other planets in the solar system. And then we'll take our little moon and move it to the center of the Earth. Then we'll put in all the other moons in the solar system. Then we'll take our little grain of sand and move it to the surface of the Earth. And now our grain of sand is in the middle of everything. We have no idea how many galaxies are in the observable universe. Scientists think there could be 2 trillion of them. So let's make our observable universe 2 trillion times bigger. Our galaxy is now in the middle of everything. Let's make our galaxy 100 billion times bigger. Our sun is now in the middle of everything. Let's make our solar system 100 billion times bigger. Our Earth is now in the middle of everything. And finally, let's make our grain of sand 10 to the 18th times smaller. And now we have our grain of sand where it belongs. A tiny speck of dust on a tiny planet, in a tiny solar system, in a tiny galaxy, in an average place in the observable universe. But remember, the universe isn't just the observable universe. It's even bigger than that. It's potentially infinite. We just don't know. But either way, it's mind-bogglingly huge. So when we try to figure out how many stars are in the universe, we have to start somewhere. The observable universe has about 100 billion stars, so let's start there. Then let's take our galaxy and copy it. Then let's take all the other galaxies in the local group and put them in the rest of the universe. Then let's take all the other galaxy clusters in the observable universe and put them in the rest of the observable universe. So how many stars are in the universe? Well, here's a star. And here's every other star in the universe. There are potentially 1 billion trillion of them, but even if there aren't that many, there's still more stars in the universe than grains of sand on all Earth's beaches. That is insane. And the universe is probably infinite. It's totally unfathomable. We're gonna need a bigger boat. So that was pretty cool, right? Well, if you want to see another amazing science video, click right here. Also, make sure to subscribe and leave a like because it really helps us out. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.